Hello guys, today is October 24th and I'm gonna talk about the election since there are only 10 days left, and depending on how the rest of the month turns out to be like, meaning October surprises if there's gonna be one, since right now there have been a couple in this month, but most of them have not made too many people changed their minds, and there are many people that are voting earlier more than in 2016. Also, there have been a couple of minor changes to this map since my last prediction, of course, but as I always say, there is still time until the election. So, let's go ahead and start with the safe blue states. Those are Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, all the regular ones, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts. All of these are almost 100% certain to go to Biden, of course, and any Democrat for the foreseeable future. Let me check. And there we go. So for the Republicans, they're safe red states. Those are Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, most of Nebraska, Oklahoma, of course, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, of course. And that's it for the safe states for both sides. This brings up the safe Democratic and Republican states to 185 for the Democrats and 71 for the Republicans. Now for the likely states for the Democrats, those are Nevada, New Mexico, Colorado, let me see, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Vermont, New Hampshire. Which ones? Virginia. That's it for the Democrats. Now for the GOP, their likely states include Alaska, of course, Utah, Montana, Kansas. These have not changed since my last prediction. Mississippi, Indiana, South Carolina, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Yep. And as you can see, the current safe and likely states for both parties, that's 278 for the Democrats and 125 for the Republicans, which already gives the Democrats 278, 8 points above what's needed to win the presidency. This is why Trump's campaign is so hard to be successful at the moment, since he desperately needs Biden's numbers to drop as fast as possible. Thankfully for Joe, most of these blue states are polling really well for him, especially in October. The only one that's on the edge is Pennsylvania. It has dropped a bit to 6 points. It used to be around 6.5 since the last prediction. In contrast, the other states have stayed the same relatively, and it looks like Joe Biden will keep his polling numbers up. And even if his numbers go down in any of these states, he still has a lot of cushioning to fall into. While for the likely and the safe Republican states, the only ones that could drop, maybe Alaska, South Carolina, but they're not gonna go to the Democrats, and that also applies to most of these states right here. I do not expect any of these. The only one, Pennsylvania, out of both parties' likely states, Pennsylvania is the only one that might be closer, and Pennsylvania is key to Trump's presidency. He can lose Michigan, Wisconsin, but if he loses Pennsylvania, that's basically the end of his campaign, because he needs one of these Rust Belt states, and Pennsylvania is the most, technically the most likely that could switch, and also has the most electoral votes that could just give him that small edge. And overall, Trump's chances of winning are getting smaller and smaller as the days pass, since he needs something to happen as soon as possible. Now, for a lot of tilt states and not that many lean states. Those tilt states are... Oh wait, lean states, right? Yeah, lean. Those are Arizona, Florida for the Democrats. There are many reasons why Arizona, formerly a conservative voting group and state, has become more democratic. First of all, the demographics have changed quite a lot, and more people of color, Asian folk, and Hispanics are moving in. Minorities tend to vote blue way more compared to white people. Plus, Trump's comments on the McCain family just sank his ship in Arizona even more here. While in Florida, Joe Biden is almost pulling at between 3 points to 4 points. This is due mostly to pandemic and how much it has hit Florida, and also Bloomberg's help with money, especially spending $100 million in this state, just makes it harder and harder for Trump to carry Florida. Also, North Carolina, since they are pulling almost at 3 points average for Joe Biden. Let me see, there's not much to talk about North Carolina, but him being part of the Obama administration and Kamala Harris' black voter turnout, which I will talk in just a second, is going to help him massively, and his numbers are doing well at the moment, and I don't expect them to drop. Now for the remaining tilt states, let me start with the Democrats. Those are Georgia, Iowa, of course, Nebraska's 2nd District, and at the moment, for me, Ohio is just the truest coin flip at the moment. But if I had to give it to either to one side, I would say that Joe Biden has that narrow edge due to his presence in politics and the way he has the election is looking out to be like at the moment. That also goes for Maine 2nd District. There are many polls that are going either way, but it does seem like Joe Biden will narrowly pull here, just barely, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to the GOP. And as you can see, most of these states, except for Iowa and Maine 2nd District, have a lot of minorities. And just his appeal with his presence, as I've said before, and Kamala Harris will help black voter turnout quite a lot, and just give him that small narrow edge over Trump. And since the polls in all of these tilt states are really close, I mean like within 1 point of going to the other side and within the margin of error, which is why these are basically flip states at the moment. Now for the last tilt state for the Republicans, it's Texas. Yep. At the moment, Texas is only going for Donald Trump. Let me see if I can remember well. Let me check this. I think it was 0.6. Oh, 0.5. I think it dropped since last time. Let me check. Yeah, it dropped slightly. Okay, back to this. So, Trump needs to be worried extremely about this since all the previous Republicans in the presidency have always been overestimated by around 2%. For example, in 2016, Trump was supposed to win by 11% here, but he only won by 9%. And if that repeats itself, which most likely it will, since it has been happening for quite a couple of elections, Joe Biden could be within the margin of error. That's the scary part, is that for his campaign, Joe Biden is within the margin of error. Since if there's a lot of voters, especially if there's a lot of people voting, younger people, Joe Biden could win this narrowly, but by like 0.1%, but just narrowly. If Trump doesn't pump those polling numbers up, we could easily see Trump lose this state, which would be just sad for his party and people that are conservative, since Texas is the Republicans' California. And as you can see, the electoral map, this puts Joe Biden at 375 versus Trump's 163. Nearing, would that be in the blowout range? I would say yeah, or just in the blowout range. As I've said before, depending on how the end of the month turns out like, we could either see Joe Biden's lead get slightly bigger, or we could see Donald Trump's lead and numbers go up, and potentially see the race tighten, especially in Pennsylvania or states overall. And I can't wait until the results of this election. But most importantly, all of us have to hope and trust that our democracy and election will be fair and not look untrustworthy, since that's the sort of stuff that starts mass protest and just mass anger towards the incumbent president that come January 21st, which sadly we will likely see no matter who wins. Thank you for watching this video, and stay safe and see you next time. Bye.